So there was so when I showed up yesterday to test drive vehicles, there was because I was going to test drive an Escape, and he's like, "Hey, I found an Edge that meets your criteria," and I'm like, "Do tell." It was a 2016, 52,000 miles.
Okay.
It's the 2-liter all-wheel drive. It is black. I would prefer white or gray, but that is like my fourth preferred color, so I'll take it.
Final price?
So and then it's I don't know what the final price is yet because they did say they're going to give me a discount because Will works there. So I have to ask him about that. But I was like looking, it was 18.5 right now before everything. And I was like, I called Dad this morning. I'm like, I was looking around. There aren't a lot of for one thing, there's not a lot of edges, and two, there's that meet my criteria, and the ones that are in the price range in years, they're cheaper, but that's because they have 80,000 miles on them or more. You know, they have so
my car had 80,000. My car has 80,000 miles.
Yeah.
Actually, technically 79, but
yours is also 2 years newer.
It's not that bad though.
No, I asked I was talking. Well, it was the weird thing, right? My dad was like, "Oh, it's a 2016. That's already kind of old," and I'm like, "But you said miles are the big thing, not the age." And he got quiet after that because I regurgitated what he told me the other day, and I was just like, "Can you go look at it Tuesday, and test drive it, see what you think?" Because I think I'm gonna pull the trigger on it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a good buy.
I think that's gonna be my new vehicle, and then I'm going to. Huh?
Help you out with that.
What'd you say?
But I'm glad I could help you out with that.
Absolutely. So I did drive an Escape though. Now, granted, I drove the 21, so it had a turbo. That thing was fun.
Yeah, they are fun. And the turbo makes a lot of noises.
I didn't because I didn't have the windows down, so I didn't. Well, I did have the window down, but not when I was accelerating. The one thing I did like about it is that they structured the door a bit better, and so you can actually reasonably comfortably rest your elbow on the windowsill. New vehicles, yeah. I don't know why, but they're just not structured that way. Part of it is they have smaller steering wheels, which is just the worst. Like, I hate new cars because like they just feel they make you feel cramped and they make you feel tired because you have to hold your arms out like this, really close. When on my current vehicle they're out like this, which is so much more natural. So, I thought about swapping the steering wheel and finding an aftermarket bigger one. Slight issue. So this is the titanium trim. So it's like the really expensive one. It's an SEL, so it's not the most expensive trim you could get, but it is one of the more expensive ones. And it has paddle shifters on this Edge.
Wait, it's not a.
Oh no, it's automatic, but you can tell it what gear to go in if you want to.
Oh.
And tell it when to shift if you want to. If you're not liking what the decisions the computer's making, which is convenient, I guess. Because you're going out in the sandhills, if we're going up a big hill and it wants to stay in the higher gear, we can downshift.
Yeah.
Not that it would do that, but I'm not quite sure what. We figured it out because I was like, because I was in cruise control. We're going down the highway, and I'm like, what the heck are these buttons doing? He's like, maybe the volume, and I'm like, so I turned the radio on. I'm like, no, it doesn't seem to be doing that. And I went, that's the gear shift, because I saw this 5 and 6 flash between each other. So I'm like, don't do that again. It didn't. The thing was, it didn't even react. Like the RPMs didn't even change at all. So I was just like, oh, okay. So, anyways. No, I'm currently selling my vehicle, so I printed off some for sale signs, and it's currently on it in the parking lot of the apartment complex.
Yeah.
Dad said to
What do you
try.
think you can get out of it?
So Kelly Blue Book says at the most 39,
Okay.
but I'm gonna try and get. I've got it priced at 4.5 because Dad says these little trucks like that are in hot demand, and even if somebody doesn't want to pay 4.5, you might be able to still get at least 4 out of them. Or maybe no, there's room to negotiate. I wanted to price it at 5, but he says that might scare too many people away.
Although they're going to go into this and have to spend $1,000. Keep it going 10,000 miles.
What?
Oh, I said although they're going to go in there and have to spend another $1,000 to keep it going another 10,000 miles.
Shh! Don't tell them that.
I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, and then Dad was like, "Don't tell them anything they don't need to know." I'm like, "Okay, so ignore all of its problems." I did want to mention to them though that the real problem is all of its issues, excluding one of them, are easily noticeable. Like you can hear the brakes squeak, you can hear the friggin' frame squeak, you can kind of start to hear the ball bearings, the ball joints squeak. And when you start it up, it doesn't exactly like to idle. It will eventually idle nicely, but it goes, it's weird. The only problem that they wouldn't notice is the gas gauge. It's a little jank. You have to track it with miles. You can't track it with the gas gauge because the gas gauge is not reliable. He said, just tell him that if it gets to quarter tank to fill up, which is fine in the winter. Yeah, do that in the winter. But in the summer, yeah, you're leaving a lot of performance. You're leaving a lot of performance still on the table. You can keep going further. Problem is, once you get below that, it becomes a crapshoot of how much fuel you actually have. Because one day, I went and I'm like, it was finally, the light hadn't even turned on yet. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I put 22 gallons in. It's a 23 gallon tank. I'm like, oh, I should, it would have left me on the highway.
But you can see how many miles you've driven between trips, right?
I keep track with the odometer.
So did you notice that it was high?
Oh yeah, I knew it was high, but it was also the summer gas was in.
Oh.
I went 100 extra miles further than I normally would.
Yeah.
Granted, I also burned 3 more gallons more than I normally would. So realistically, I only went an extra 50 to 60 miles further than I normally would.
Mm-hmm.
Which is still such a crazy improvement over the other thing. So no, yeah, I will hopefully be the proud owner of an Edge. We will see. I don't think we're gonna take it on this. We're not gonna take it on this trip. I want to, I want to break. I want to drive it for a few months, before I take it someplace big.
Like drive it 1 month and then take it on a trip.
Yeah, well, it's gonna go to North Dakota with me, so it'll have at least 2 months before I take it before it goes any place huge. I'd be fine driving it to Mullen if we decide if there's a weekend that we go or whatever.
Yeah.
It won't be so the mileage is better than my truck, but definitely worse than your car.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, it's a truck.
It's not a truck. It's a
SUV.
It's a mid-range SUV.
It's a what?
It's a mid-range SUV.
Mid-range SUV.
So like the big SUVs are so in order of size of SUVs.
Wait, is it How do you compare it to the vehicle we took to Arkansas?
It might be a little bigger than that one.
I would have thought it would have got high 20s.
On highway, it gets high 20s.
Really?
Mid to high 20s. In city, it's only 20.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's a 2016?
Yeah.
I would have thought it would have better gas mileage than that.
If you got the Escape, you would get better mileage,
Yeah,
but you have less room. This is not a. It's the thing that so you get like 3 extra inches of depth of if this is the car, right? My phone's the car, and this is the length and the width. You get 3 extra inches here, but you do get, I don't know how many more inches this way, but you definitely get definitely a few more. So you get probably a few cubic feet of extra space, you know. And once you fold down once you fold down all, basically you're doing that in exchange for spending a bit more money, and less and worse gas mileage.
Yeah.
But I will say though, you were asked like it's a 2016. I think Will can vouch for me on this. After 2016, the gas mileage in vehicles starts to really improve.
Yeah.
I don't know what that because I know there was an EPA push to like by 2025 average miles to the gallon of all vehicles needs to be 25 miles to the gallon. That was a big rule.
I'm gonna do it.
I'm pretty. They changed the rule, not because they weren't going to hit it, but because they wanted to make it more strict, and so now it's something else. I don't know. I think now it's more focused on just getting EVs on the road.
And it's trucks too, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, I don't think so, because the F-150s are not close to getting 25 miles to the gallon. So.
Well, that's what I'm asking.
I don't think it includes trucks, which is the most popular vehicle on the road in America. So I really don't know. The law was not very good. It's not a law; it's a rule that the EPA came up with. It was not very good. But, anyways, no. But for whatever,
follow the rule.
What?
You don't have to follow the rule.
Well, no, you do. It's a regulation. It's not a law. It's just so how it works is, Congress outlined a framework for how the EPA can operate. Right? It is then up to the EPA and the president to decide how will the EPA work within this framework, and so Congress says here are your powers. Do what you can, and the EPA decides, okay, what can we do with these powers? And the president decides, here's how much funding you're going to have to do certain powers. The president can ultimately decide. That's what Trump did back when he first got elected. He defunded the EPA by a lot. They have a allotted budget, but like he just says, no, you can't focus on these regulations.
Mm-hmm.
He has that power, even though they were assigned that money. He can say, nope, you're not going to use it. So, yes, you still have to follow it because it's the executive branch. They're there to enforce their own rules and policies. So, anyways, no, but it's so after 2016, cars, their fuel efficiency is really. Because, like, if you buy a car from 2002 and 2016, the mileage, is really not that. There really isn't that big of a difference. Look at mine. It's a 2000. It's a 2002. What?
Go ahead.
It's a 2002, and it gets 18 miles to the gallon. That's 2 miles.
Oh, then what do you have to say about my Honda, my Focus? My Focus had like 20 some odd miles a gallon. Yeah, I don't think I'd ever got 30. That was a 2010. 2015 Honda blew it out of the water.
Well, okay, but what was a 2010 Honda getting? Where
I
the
don't know, I
Honda's
didn't have a
already
2010 Honda.
efficient to begin with.
I didn't have a 2010 Honda.
Well, yeah, but that's my question now. You're not comparing the same.
Well, you
thing.
were just saying cars in general. So I was using cars in general.
True. But like, because like, but they have gotten, the efficiency has increased since 2016 by a lot, a lot more than the previous 8 years. So there's that.
2006 car gets 18 city and 23 or 4 highway.
What's yours?
Whose?
2006 Pontiac G6.
Yeah, see, every brand's a little different. So that's already better than the Ford. So anything freaking Ford made was getting better than whatever Ford was producing back then.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why that Volkswagen thing we drove had such great mileage.
It did have really good mileage.
So but it's just foreign made. They were under stricter fuel regulations than the U.S. is anyway.
Pontiac is GM.
Oh, that's right. Pontiac is GM. Well, I guess it's also a smaller car though.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing with the Edge. It has the same motor as the Escape, and so you're just it's the same power output. No, but that 2001 Escape that was a lot of fun. He let me drive it by myself, and so I just freaking floored it. Crazy was, I pushed it up to the RPMs I would normally push up my truck. It's about 3,000 RPMs when I'm accelerating, and I'm just like, it had some get up and go. I got back and I looked at the salesman and I went, I know it's a 4-cylinder, but I could have swore it was a 6 that I was already driving. You could have told me it was a 6 and I would have believed you. I guess I wonder. It's weird because the 2.5 liter I don't think is any more fuel efficient in the Edges than the 2 liter. It's actually, I think it might have been, maybe it was. I don't know. I know in the Escape it wasn't. The 2 liter was the 2 liter was the second most efficient, followed by the 1.5 liter. But our uncle says the 1.5 liter is not a good engine. So
Let me know what salesman you had after the.
What?
Let me know what salesman you had after the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I told him, hey, here's what I want. He's like, all right, I'll look around. I get there, and he's like, hey, I've got something you might want. And I'm like, all right. It's a really great Carfax. It had one owner. Basically, the dealership bought it back when it was new. It sat on the lot for 2 months. Then this old couple bought it, and they drove it from basically a few hundred miles from I think it had I had the Carfax on the table, but it had like a few hundred miles on it, and they drove it to 52,000 miles from 2016 to now. And they were pretty religious about taking it in. They put new tires on it. There was a rattling sound in the transmission. Now the transmission housing, that's what the Carfax says. Now apparently that was a recall. The Carfax doesn't register as a recall, but he says that was a recall notice, and so that was taken care of. And the other and if any other recalls were on it, they took care of that apparently. Yeah. But they were very religious. Every 5,000 miles, it was in for an oil change and a service. So
it's a 1652. Was it blue certified then?
It was blue certified, yeah.
Okay.
He was just like, he basically just got out of certification because it wasn't there the day. He was like, it wasn't there the day before. Like it
No,
just
we-
gotten out of the shop
Yeah, it probably came through our place
4
this
days
week or
ago.
last week. Oh,
He said yesterday they'd gotten it 4 days before I drove it.
Huh.
So I guess we'll see what Dad says when he drives it Tuesday. But so Phil, this trip is going to be pretty expensive. But here's the thing about the next one, though. Now we don't have to worry about a rental, even though it's worse mileage. It's not as bad as my truck, and we still get all that nice space.
Yeah.
So it'll be better than it's still going to be better than a rental. Like it. Honest to God, I think my truck would probably still be better than almost be better than the rental. Not by much, but almost. Because rental's expensive. It's
$60 a day.
Huh?
$60 a day, unlimited miles. Oh, I don't think it's that bad.
I don't know.
It's a lot better than putting all that miles on your car.
I mean, true, but I
You're
don't
gonna
know.
put 4,800 miles on it. That's an oil change.
So be it. I can't wait for that next summer. I'm gonna take it in because I'm assuming you buy it through them. You get oil changes for. I'm probably. I was gonna say free, but I'm sure it's not.
Free oil changes.
I just said probably not. But that'd be funny on the Carfax. What?
You might maybe get a couple for free. But...
Yeah, but no, it'd be funny as sin though. You take it in this day, changes the oil. 2 weeks later, another oil change. What? They put 5,000 miles on in 2 weeks? Yes. Had to be done. No, I would rather put.
It doesn't have to be done.
I would rather put 5,000 miles on than spend an egregious amount of money. In my opinion, anyways. In my opinion. How the hell are we at 30 minutes? What the hell have we even talked about?
Your
A
car.
lot of things.
Yeah. And the first 10 minutes, I don't know what we talked about. Oh,
Veterinarian
YouTube.
school.
YouTube. I was hoping we'd talk about something else, but, I was hoping one of you two would bring something up, but I guess not.
Talked about YouTube Analytics.
What?
You
We talked about YouTube
veterinarian school.
Analytics.
Well, yeah, that was the first 13 minutes.
Yeah.
And then the last 20 have been the car. But it is the most prevalent part
Yeah.
of my life.